Yeah, dude, that's so funny, dude. Especially with, especially like the Diddy's like at the bottom. It has like a younger Oprah, a older LeBron, like a what's her name, Beyonce. Who else? J Lo, Kanye West. Oh, Kim Kardashian. Damn. Even I like how they even have like Leonardo. And he looks like the devil. You know, Leonardo is like the only one that should be there. You know, and then it's like okay for him to be there because well, it just depends what year because Leonardo was no, yeah, he's like the only one who could be there because he's from the Titanic and like those people are ready to die anyway, dude. So you might as well just let it out, let it go, and let it all out that day because you're gonna sink that day. You're gonna die in the Atlantic. So and then who's like behind him? Like who's that crying? I don't understand that. So that's J Lo again. J Lo's guilty, huh? And then even the white folks are going down. He got Elon, dude. He got Elon's going down too, dude. Damn, dude, that's so funny. That's so funny. Even he's taking down the white folks, dude. You know that's some dirty stuff, dude. Well, even the white folks are getting taken down too, dude. Yeah, I believe it. I believe Elon was part of that freak off, man. You know, he probably still has it. You know, you can only do like people don't understand. You can only do this type of stuff if you have like this notoriety, and that means if you have money, uh, influence over other people to get what you want out of them, like maybe a contract or something like that, music contract, entertainment contract or something. You know, it could be like, it could be like even like getting a contract as in like being on the Beyonce tour. Like, get like, if I'm like a struggler, like if I'm a band and I want to get my band some more, a little bit more cash this year. Maybe I want to buy a little bit more houses and shit. And maybe I want my band to go on like the Beyonce tour, world tour, global tour in 2026 or something. I'm pretty sure P Diddy could get me on there. So maybe I, work or go do some, stuff for him, some free costs, and maybe he like me, and then I could get that accomplished with my band or if I'm a singer or something. And that's the trade-off, and to me that's not really the law. It's not somewhere where you would get judged by your. See, that's not judgmental in the law hands. It should be judgmental in God's hand and ethical reasons. So I don't understand. Most people now are copycatting P Diddy's like freak offs. Everyone thinks it's funny. If you really think about it, you know, people are having discussions about Diddy and what he did about the freak offs and stuff like that. You know, um, basically, what is a freak off? A freak off is this, a sex with different people while you're in the room. I guess it could be a lot of things, but I think if it's not underage, it's not none of my business because if I'm not in that room, it's none of my business. So this is like another Bill Clinton thing. You know, if I'm not in that room with him, and it's not none of my business. And if all the people in that room is over 21 and they have consent, maybe they had consent at that time, but then they might have changed their mind, saying, "Hey, you know what I did was stupid, and what he did was stupid, and it wasn't cool. He should have known better than that. Now I feel like he raped me or something like that." Like, oh, like, well, I didn't really think he raped me. He took advantage of me, but I would say he raped me. And then it gets all out of context. You know, you got ambulance chasers and stuff like that. So you really, Diddy has a lot of problems, and and these are problems that could be easily avoided if he like say, hey, the law is not doesn't state really of you know who I cannot and not like tell, oh, I want such and such to make love to you because um you owe me or something to go on that Beyonce tour. It's like, wow, like who wouldn't do something stupid like that to something like that could really change your whole career. Imagine that, like getting on a tour or something like that, or getting a big musical contract like that. Something like that. People don't take in consideration, like what it takes to do that from, like, out of like real talent doesn't even make it sometimes. And I take that back. Doesn't Real talent doesn't make it sometimes. Real talent always doesn't make it sometimes. It's really rare. It's like to actually make it in the world. Sometimes it's like it's like either a miracle or you were like you were put there by your like you were grandfathered in, like the spelling, Tori Spelling, like Tori Spelling was grandfathered into acting because of her dad. So, it's like what I'm trying to say. If you're not grandfather, it's gonna be really, really hard for you to become a musician. Even though if you're a good musician, you're still not gonna make it, because it's just, um, first off, it's like the people on the top don't want new talent because it's messing up their current talent and their current streams of income. So basically, that's why Snoop Dogg music is so popular, because the people he's like the people at the top who invested in Snoop Dogg when he was young, are just streaming off the royalties off that Snoop Dogg stuff, because and then they don't want to, they don't want anything new, because it messes up the Snoop Dogg's royalties. Like Snoop Dogg gets royalties when he goes when his movie gets well, not his movie, but his soundtracks get played in the movies or on the TV show or something. He gets a royalty check from that. So basically, and Snoop Dogg's music is kind of universal now. It's kind of universal accepted. So basically, it's a good. He has a good brand with him. It before it had a bad stigma in it, like it was gangster. The people who really knew Snoop Dogg and NWA knew that they weren't not gang members. They were just talking about gang members and stuff on the corner and stuff. They were never gang members. Like NWA, they were never gang members. They were never thugsters. They were just people in the hood. It doesn't mean that if you're a black person, Mexican person, white person, it doesn't mean that when you're living in the hood, doesn't mean you're a thug. This means you just live in the other side of town. Probably where it's cheaper and it has more culture than the other side of town, that where it's rich. But yeah, they were just, as if you really think about their talent, I think they were mostly dancers. Like, if you really think about, like, even Eazy-E had said that in his diss video, that Dr. Dre was a dancer in a group. He was never a thug person in Compton or anything. So, and then Eazy-E was just, was someone who was just looked cool to hang out with and during the video. So that's what made Eazy and NWA. I think who was the hardest one? The hardest person, looking person on there was Ice Cube, um, and and I think he probably was the nicest person in that group. If you really think about it, Ice Cube probably was the hardest looking brother on that group. and he was probably the nicest one. Because you know why? Because he has the less in his dating profile. He stuck it out with one woman, and like he's really true to his game. If because you never hear bad stuff about Ice Cube. Like Ice Cube, like it really made his career now when he came out with the Dodger, singing the national anthem. What was the national? What was it? Or oh, he came out singing out, not the national anthem, but he came out singing for the Dodgers like that. We're all in L.A. song, and like it was like a national hit. But yeah, it really shows you that the media does try to want to get the next black person. The last black person. Who was the last black person? It was Bill Cosby. Like before that, it probably was O.J. Simpson. There's always a black man like with a lot of money that they try to get in the media. But I think it was probably Kanye West is probably like the last current one. And then they're probably gonna get um, LeBron James. Yeah, LeBron James is hated. Like a lot of people hate him because of his success, and that's kind of sad how you know we all think we're all united, but in reality, when it comes down to people's feelings, people are jealous and hate it of each other's success. People are jealous that you know people are jealous because LeBron James, when he first started in NBA, is always made like 25-30 million dollars a year since he's been in the NBA, and that's been over 20 years, and with endorsements and stuff like that. So he's probably making $100 million a year, um, and he's still playing, and and although that's good and bad for a person, but it's like it's calling ball hogging. But at least sometimes you're glad it's finally happening, because it's been happening to other cultures for a long time. This is like for black people, our wealth is like this is the first time, like to have that type of wealth come in real quick, like millions of dollars like that at your disposable. And disposable, I mean. That you can spend money. He could spend $100 million and still won't be hurting. Like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan spends hundreds of millions of dollars and it's still not hurting. Shaquille O'Neal spends $100 million and still not hurting. Like a lot of black folks, if they spend $100 million, they're like broke for life. But these guys, they have residual income coming in through so many endorsement deals, and they can get future endorsement deals if they keep their tail clean and don't get blacklisted or black sheep, and keep a smile when it comes to the camera. Don't get in politics, don't involve yourself in politics, always be neutral. uh, People, their agents should do that, and their agents say, hey, keep them neutral throughout their career. Keep that husband and family side to them in the camera, although they might not be husband and family or husband and wife off camera, but on camera make it look like they have a great family life, but in reality it's really not. But you just try to keep that image, like he has all these good, and then you try to keep the image of his kids, like try to get them out of trouble too. You just keep an eye on everybody, because that image is a brand that you're trying to prolong as much as possible, because now how long that LeBron brand is going to be after he retires. I think it's going to be really short, since he only have 4 championships, and his 4 championships are not really like they were help. They were different from Jordan, but all in all, he's not going to be hurting for cash. So anyhow, we should move on. But anyhow, that's Diddy. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and we'll see you in the next video. Bon appetito!